July 17th, 2023, and this video is called Growing Plants in Containers versus in the Ground. Now, I think this is with everything, with flowers and vegetables. Now, I believe that there is no comparison between growing in the ground in a container. Now, you could still be successful in a container, but if you want your vegetables and your plants to be 1,000,000 times better, you got to go with the ground, and it's because of this experiment that I did. Now, this container, which is about a 2.5 foot plant, this is the same one right here, and this plant that's in the ground that's about 5 feet tall, they were started at the same time. I had them all, they were all in the same container, except I planted this one about a month ago, and it's 1,000,000 times better. Now, what the experiment is going on is that, I don't know if you know this, I thought this was really cool, that it's the magnetic pull of the earth is known to have an effect on living organisms and biological processes. The evidence indicates that the earth's magnetic pull influences seed germination by acting as an auxin or a plant hormone. And it's the magnetic field also assists actually in the ripening of plants as tomatoes. Now, it's kind of like grounding. If you ever heard of grounding, when you put your bare feet to the ground, there's like that connection to the earth that I believe there's like a force field in there. And it's like in Star Wars, may the force be with you. I do believe that they were true and right on that. That if you can get connected to that force field, that magnetism, you're going to be healthier and the plants are going to be healthier. And it's kind of like, by grounding your feet, it's like plugging yourself into the earth's power source. And I think it's true with the plants as well. It's like you become energized if you're connected to that power field. Your body picks up ions from the earth's surface that act like antioxidants in your system. And I'm going to show you here the difference. Now, if you look at the leaves even, they're not as green. Now look, I'm going to pick one of the biggest leaves on this plant and put it on one of the biggest leaves on this other plant, the one that's in the ground. And look at there is no comparison. Look at that. The color is better. The ones that are in the ground are deeper green. And actually, it's a bigger leaf. There's way more. There's probably only, I'd say, about a dozen flowers on the smaller ones. And this one, there are probably a dozen on each branch. So this plant is about 5 feet tall compared to the 2.5 to 3 foot ones in the containers. This is a tomatillo that I'm growing. And look at the size of the thickness. I'm going to put this over here so we can compare them. Look at the thickness of this, which is probably like a 1/4 inch. This one is almost at least 3/4 of an inch. You could see that one. It's crazy. It's almost like, if you ever just seen tomatoes, they're starting to grow roots out of the stems here. They're growing so well. Actually, I had to stake this one up a couple times because it's so tall. And this one is still almost, it's just what it's basically doing. It seems to be just growing taller and skinnier and not branching out. The soil is the same. It's 2-year composted leaf humus. It's aged leaf humus, which is the same as this stuff. So if you want to go with containers, I think you could still be successful. You just won't get as much of a crop. If you got the land or the property and soil, if you want just a bounty of fruit, vegetables, you got to go in the ground, and it's just going to be way better. So that is my experiment. I believe that the force field within the earth, whether it's for plants or humans, that it affects the health and well-being of that organism. So definitely go with the ground. there's no comparison to growing in a container. Now here's another comparison. This is a peach that I bought 3 years ago. And look, I still have a couple peaches on it. But if you see, there's hardly any branch growth, right? Maybe has 8 inches, if that. I mean, it does matter. The you know, just the size of the container would influence that too. But this is what this peach was put in the ground the same year as I bought that. So they're literally the same age. But look at this. This one is just loaded with peaches. And let me zoom back here. If you could see, this has got to be pruned next year, because look at that. It's incredible, the growth. It is basically, I want to guess, it is over my head. It's about 6 feet. I'll say double. This is like 12 feet tall. And the leaf growth, I actually had to cut this off because they got too long. Here is, look at this. I had to cut this one off too. So if you look at the leaf growth over there, from here to here, I'm going to say that's about 1, 2, 3.5 to 4 feet of growth. It's about, I'd say it's at least 12 feet tall. This is a really nice peach right there. The only problem I have is the groundhogs or some squirrel, I think, is crawling up there and getting them. So that's another example of that grounding. And actually, look, I have it in the container. I wanted to keep it in the container so I could transplant it, but I never got around to doing it. Oh, where is it? It's hard to see. But there is it's in a container. It busted right through the roots into the ground. I think those plants are smarter than us, but another example of growing in the ground, look at that, versus growing in a container.